if I can learn anything through this story and through this testimony, is this: that God has so many good things for you. Yeah, He has a wife or a husband for you that is just for you. And I go against anyone else that says, well, there's a billion women in the world. Well, I say this: when you pray to God and you ask God to intervene, He will intervene and give you the best one. He will give you the one that your heart matches the other person's heart. He will give you the one that you need to get through for your destiny. I guess I joined the Marines in 2005 to 2009. During the Marine Corps, I mean, I love the Marines, but at the same time, is the atmosphere for a family atmosphere is really tough. I don't think anybody in my platoon made it. I think they all got divorced out of 30 something. It was really tough. So we a lot of lust, pornography. I know people who would actually, everything you can think of, from fornication. I mean, it was pretty bad stuff. I mean, sometimes you get around that groups or other groups, but when I got out of the Marine Corps, I didn't know what it was like to have a good relationship. In fact, I don't think I was in the right state of mind at all. One, I didn't really know the Lord. And when I got to college, I got into almost got into 2 fights within the first week. I would get around in large periods, a lot of crowd, and I'd get kind of shaky and didn't feel right because it just felt unorganized. Didn't like to be around a bunch of people. My dad sent me to a fishing trip in Arkansas River over in Colorado near Salida. I found God on a road. Totally awesome story, and I don't want to get stuck there. But I found God. He was speaking to me. I felt peace. I hit rock bottom. After that, God revealed Himself. I ended up on the side of the road, no cell phone service, low gas, couldn't find this place, and I was talking to God, and I had a lot of peace come over me, and He actually told me where this dirt road was. He told me to drive, and that's where I found my dad, who was waiting on the side of the road at 3 o'clock in the morning, and God started to reveal Himself to me. So I started chasing after God. God says, if you knock, the door will be opened. If you seek with your whole heart, you will find. And God was showing me at that moment on that road that I was actually seeking God with my whole heart. I needed Him, my whole heart, not half a heart, not 75% heart, but the whole heart, because right at that moment He showed up. And I believe if you're not fake with God, I think that's when He shows up. Mm-hmm. I think when you actually stop trying to be religious, stop trying to be fake, and just really talk to God, I mean, He's going to answer you. I started going to church, and then my pastor goes, hey, you need to be baptized. And I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I got baptized. That next week, I was injured. I had bad knee issues, back issues from the Marines. I ran 3 miles for the first time in months, almost a year. And I was yelling Jesus the whole way. I started coming on fire for God and just started to chase God with all my heart. And so He started teaching me, and I had all these evil things that I had to get out of my system from the Marine Corps of thoughts. One of them was pornography, lust. And so God started healing me from that. And I started chasing God, but yet I was still living in sin. I was still having sex with other women. I was still in different relationships. And finally I decided that I wanted to walk with God. I wanted to step in with God. And I started walking truly. I stopped having sex, and then I met a certain individual, woman that came into my life, and I got involved again sexually. In fact, that person was still married, but was separated. And once that person finally got a divorce, I was still going with them. But when I got involved, I couldn't hear God anymore. I stopped hearing from Him. I couldn't hear from God. It was almost a year and a half, 2 years. And I finally shouted to God. I says, God, how do I get you back? And He straight up answered me. He says, if you love me, follow my commandments. And so I was like, okay, and I thought about that, meditated on it. I went and talked to her, and I was asking, hey, I don't want to have sex till I get married. Because it's, when you really think about that, United States, we're always after people who are maybe not doing it right, or hey, you're gay, or hey, you're lesbian. But really it's, hey, you're having sex before marriage. Really? Do you want to be truthful? You want to be honest? Who's looking at pornography? Who's having sex before marriage? I mean, if you want to bring it all out, what does the word God say? It says that when you even lust after your own heart after a woman, you've already committed adultery in your heart. So when you're walking with Jesus, are you walking it out with Jesus, or are we hypocrites? You know what I mean? So the thing that come to me is, I asked God, I says, how do I get you back? He said, if you love me, follow my commandments. And I told her, I says, I cannot have sex with you till I get married. And that person could not handle that. That person left after about a month or 2 months. And it was kind of an off-going deal. And I finally separated, and it was really hard. And that person kind of came back into my life a second time. And finally, my mom calls, and my mom's a dreamer. That's what she does. And she gives me this dream. She goes, hey, God gave me a dream. It's about a little kid walking with a tall woman. She has red heels, and the kid was holding the hands of the woman, and he was looking at the red heels. And the tall woman was very beautiful, and but the kid was attracted to the heels. Well, the heels were red, and the red represents lust. And when my mom was seeing in the dream that the kid was so attracted by the heels that he didn't see the car coming ahead, and the car hit him. And the next scene in the dream, she was in the hospital, and the doctor was coming up and said, he lived, but he'll never be the same. And I told Mom, that's a horrible dream. And she says, well, that little kid is you. And when she said that the little kid was you, I was like, oh, it put fear in me. I got some fear in me, some healthy dose fear, and realized that I'm playing around with fire. And if you're playing around with fire, do you not think you're going to get burnt? I mean, let's be honest. If you're married and you're messing with somebody else, you're eventually going to fall in love with the other person, or you can't make your wife happy because you're living in sin. So if that's the case, you're messing your marriage up, and it's all because of what Satan's doing. Satan wants you to be divorced. He wants you to divide. He doesn't like your family structure. He hates a husband and wife. He hates it. I never saw her ever again. That was the last time I saw her. And my pastor calls me up, Ron Gibson. He goes, hey, how's it going? I said, hey, Ron, what's going on? He always does this to me. He's done this all the time. Like the first time he calls me up, I was thinking about tithing, and I says, I'll tithe when I get a job. And he calls me the next day. He goes, the Lord was just speaking to me, and I know I hate to bring this up to you, but, the Lord says you ain't going to get anything if you don't start tithing now. And I'm like, oh, dang. So whenever he does that, he always does this to me. And Ron calls me up, and he says, well, Dawson, says, what if I say it's going to be 4 years till you had sex, or until you got married, right? That's not, he didn't say until you got married. And I was like, he's not going to do that to me. God is not going to do that to me. I love sex way too much. I love women. I was like, and I know I need a wife, or I'm not going to make it. But Ron's like, you're going to wait 4 years to get married. I was like, there's no way God's going to do that to me. Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to skip to the front. It was exactly 4 years from the last night I had sexual lust with a woman to the night I got married. It was in January, and it was almost, I bet it was a couple, maybe, I don't know, it's within the days, but it was exactly 4 years. So I'm going back over here, back to where Ron talked to me, and I says, Ron, God will never do that to me. There's no way. Well, the first day I woke up, and I had a lie. I was fed a lie. The enemy gave me a lie. He says, you're never going to have sex ever again. You're not even going to get married. You won't even have sex ever again. Well, that day I had to conquer that lie. I had to go walk to the Spirit, and then I did. I conquered it. The next day was a new lie. The new lie was like, you'll never have a woman again like you had in the past. You'll have some woman that's like high holy, that doesn't like sex, that doesn't want to do anything, or want to be, what I mean, like you won't be happy, like you'll actually be worse off. Like there was the next lie, and then the next lie after that would be, how can a woman ever like you the way you are? You have all this sex drive in you. Oh, you'll never find a good Christian woman, blah blah blah. So there was 7 lies that the enemy gave me 7 days in a row, and every day I had to fight that lie. And every day I conquered that lie, not in me, but Jesus. I prayed. I had the brothers pray for me. And then after 7 days, the lies stopped. But then it was like coming off drugs. So it's like your hands started shaking. It's like you're coming off drugs. My eyes were looking down, so not looking at other women. But during those 4 years of my walk with like that, I really felt so close to God. He was like a provider. He cared for me. He watched over me. He helped my heart. When I stumbled, he got me back up. And I never felt so close to God. I mean, it was like I can hear him. I mean, it was just like, because I was struggling so much, and through our struggles, he's there. And I got to the point where I started to recover in the mind. Now, I was in the Marine Corps 4 years. I looked at pornography before that. I had a lot of corruptness in my mind. And I believe, so I don't ramble, when I got close to 4 years, within 6 months, I started living my life. It was crazy that my mind started to heal. And I was actually able to not look at pornography. I can look at women again with respect and honor as the creation of God. I was actually able to tell myself, God, I was like, I feel free. For the first time in years, I feel free. And it was funny that my mind was so corrupted. It took 4 years for it to heal. And literally my mind was better off. It felt free. And I was actually, there was like this burden that came off. I remember I was driving, I was patrolling, and I started thinking to myself, I was like, wow, I've never felt this free in a really long time. And it's funny how you think that you like something and you're addicted to something, that you need something, but really you're just a slave to it. The word says that, a man will leave his mom and his dad. He's going to cleave to his wife. Whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of God, is what Proverbs says. And the Bible has so many scriptures about a wife for you. And I started getting all these things, and it was funny, after those 4 years, this burden left me and I felt free. I didn't feel like I needed a wife. For the first time, I was able to say, wow, I'm not craving lust. Like, I feel free. Like, my body feels free. And I was actually driving. I was driving to get my teeth cleaned. And I was praying to God, and I says, Lord, and this is, I was always afraid of this, but I finally faced it. I says, God, I'm able. If you want me to live like Paul, I will live like Paul. If you want me to live the rest of my life without a wife, I'm able to do that right now. And right then I put God before myself, and I sought God, and I was like, God, I can put you before myself. Like if you want me to do that, I'll do it. And 10 minutes later, I met my wife, Tammy Enlow. And not just that, she's the only woman I never fought for. I never fought for her. Never. I never tried to manipulate. I never tried to turn. I never tried to impress. I just said, God, if this is your will, then you're going to make it done. I just give it to you because I'm done fighting. It took me 4 years. And in fact, when she would actually start getting cold feet, God would actually fight for me. And that's how it should be. God gave her a dream. God gave her a vision. Every time she'd try to I don't know. And then God would give her some kind of vision or dream. And so I didn't have to fight for her, because it was God fighting for me, and it was a gift for me. And that's how it should be. And just as my wife will say, God is the perfect matchmaker. Mm-hmm. So if you want to pick your own wife, that's fine. You're going to get married. God will honor that. But when you put God and ask God to lead you in that way and match your heart with the next person's heart, because you want to be, God, where's the wife that you have for me, that you have compared to me with my heart? You're bringing God into it, and God will fulfill that, and he will do it. Why? Because I lived in an area with population of 400 people, and I'm working in the middle of nowhere in the canyons, and there was a lot of times when the enemy would try to feed me and say, you're never going to meet your wife. You might as well get on eHarmony, or you might as well get online. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not. But I am saying this. I said, I'm trusting my God, the creator of heaven and earth, then I am not trusting myself. So I met my wife there, and he started fighting for me. In fact, I was so stubborn that when it came to the ring, I told God, I says, if she's for me and all these rings, I never looked for a ring before. And maybe I said I would have in the past, but I never really looked for a ring ever. And I told God, I says, Lord, I'll make a deal with you. He says, if I walk by a ring place, I'll look for a ring. And I think there was a little part of me that was still like, I want to, gotta make sure, Lord, if this is of you, you're gonna do everything. And so, right when I said that prayer, I went to a training to a hotel, and next to the hotel is a Zales.
Yeah,
place.
Zales.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Outlet store.
So I told God, I was like, all right, cool. You put me here. I'm right next to it. I says, all right, I'll go in. So I went in and started looking at rings. And I told God, I was looking at those prices. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to buy a ring for this much money. I'm a guy. I save money. And the owner of the store was looking at me and was like, oh, hold on now. Hold on. I got these rings back here, like in the back. So I went back there. So
in the sales case.
Yeah, in the sales case. So I was like, okay. And there was this one beautiful ring. This is it right here. This is one beautiful ring. And it's beautiful. And she's like, I have this and it's on sale. And even then, I was just like, that's a good price, but not good enough. So I still walked away. She's like, wait. All right, fine. I was like, you look like you're a military police officer? I was like, yeah, I'm a police officer. I was in the military. I was in the Marines. And she goes, okay, I'll give you the discount on top of the sale if you'll buy this ring. And she gave me such a good price. I was like, I cannot say no to that. So I had to take the ring, right? So God knows how to manipulate me. Or how to change my mind, because he's got a plan. So I bought the ring, and there's the ring right there. So, yeah. So I got the ring, and then it went to be a proposed time. I remember I went to go propose to her. And the enemy hates this. He hates it. He hates a male and female. He hates marriage. He hates what the God has set up. He hates it. He absolutely despises it. And this is how I knew that she was for me. This was the very the cherry on top. I was gonna engage to her. It was on November time frame somewhere.
Like around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I was working.
Yeah.
And I had this whole plan, right? I was gonna propose to her. I was like, I'm gonna take her hiking this afternoon. I had it all planned out. Well, work started getting busy. I started getting 911 calls. I started taking care of that. And I believe that was from the enemy because it was way too busy at that time frame because it was supposed to be slower. Well, I come home. Well, guess who already went on a hike? This girl.
Well, we were driving to go on a hike.
So she was going on a hike without me, and I was supposed to propose to her. So I was a little upset. I was like, what the heck? You're blowing it all up. So I sent a text. I'm like, you were supposed to wait for me. I had this because, I've never proposed before. That's a stressful environment for me. So I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to wait for me. What are you doing? And she's in the canyons where there's no cell phone service. Mm-mm. She gets the text I send her, and she comes back, right? She comes back. I'm heated. Why? Because I'm stressed out because I was planning on proposing, and now she's not there to propose. I'm all over the place on emotions because I've never proposed to somebody before, and I'm all stressed out. So I'm sitting here with my wife. I'm just like, what the heck? You're supposed to wait for me, blah, blah, blah. I was kind of probably mean, but I was just because I was all stressed out because she didn't know I wanted to propose.
Yeah, you seemed grumpy.
So I'm sitting at the table. It says, whatever, whatever. And my wife comes over and she puts her hand on me and she just sits right next to me and doesn't move. And she comforts me. Mm-hmm. And she truly has it out of love. And it literally melted my heart. And I was like, oh man, this girl really loves me. That really humbled me. And so I was like, all right, let's go get married, So he didn't know. And so we drove to this high cliff area. We hiked over to this high cliff area, and I got my son, and I told him, hey, I want to take care of you. I talked to him before I talked to her. She was off looking at a cliff or something. He was all about it, and he wanted to take pictures. And so we had that all planned up. But what I didn't know is that I know the enemy is trying to stop this. He hates the marriage again. He doesn't like the marriage. I didn't know this, but right when I went to propose, there was a there was a situation going on at the park, and there was a fight that broke out, and it was over a rock, and this kid broke this rock, and 2 families went after it, and that never happens. But I do know that Satan, what happened is he looked at something that God was putting together, and he didn't like it, and he knew that he couldn't stop it because you can't stop God and what he's doing. So he tried to manipulate something else that he had control over. And right when I went to propose, she said yes. I got on my knee and she said yes. And she said, yes, I already bought the dress, which is her side of the story. And I got on my knees and I went to propose. She says yes. And I got the 911 call saying, hey, there's a fight, blah, 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 going off. So I have to run away from my where I proposed to her. I left her there and I had to run. And she had the keys to my truck. So I had to borrow some cowboy's truck to drop me off with, because I was still on duty.
Yeah.
And dropped off over at the truck stop or over the parking lot to stop this fight deal. And it was all because of the enemy. But it was funny that I left her there. She said yes. I ran away from my proposal. The day I got married was January 14th, 2017. And it was exactly 4 years from the last time I had sexual lust with a woman, where it was prophesied by my pastor, Ron Gibson, who, by the way, who's prayed for me and helped me and walked. And in this journey, before I ended and led it to her, in this journey, I learned that having my brothers to pray for me and to walk in that way, man, I felt so close to God, and I got to see miracles. I got to see Him move. I got to see Him. I got to see Him more like I've never seen Him in my whole life when I got to choose Him. If you're looking for a husband, if you're looking for a wife, remember this: God is the perfect matchmaker.